Cutting to the chase, if you have the error message I'm discussing in this video, you need to use a slightly newer version of your web browser if it's Firefox. That's literally the answer. You may have looked up a bunch of others, and I'll bring them up in a minute, but let's read the error message. Now, there's something missing in this error message compared to what is the standard on the internet. And it should be noted that that's kind of important. So here we go. An error occurred during a connection to, name that website. In this case, it was Costco, but it could be any website. The page you're trying to view cannot be shown because the authenticity of the received data could not be verified. Please contact the website owners to inform them of this problem. On that last statement, don't do that. They don't know how to diagnose it because there's something missing here. The actual error code. Now, I don't know if you understand this, but we're going to go through a lot of details here. But again, I gave you the answer. Just use a slightly newer browser. You may have to download one after another, or you can download the latest, which is what most people do. I recommend downloading slightly newer versions until you find out the actual version number that'll work, and then look for the next one after it that's considered stable or has long-term support. Like with Firefox, it's ESR version. So in this case, I did this under Firefox 90-something, and it was the extended service release. And yes, I can get a patch to fix this, but I don't want to. I can also manually do all the hacking I want here. It's a very specific hack. I'm not going to do it. I just loaded up version 100-something. I look for the extended service or extended support release. What that really means is that's the version that's not broken. All the others between each of these versions, from 91 through 103, are versions that have various bugs that were never fixed. When they finally finish fixing all the bugs for the 90 series, they call that one the extended service release. And then 10-something comes out and it's broken, but 103 isn't, so that's the one they support. And they keep letting you fix and patch it rather than telling you, just get a new one. And again, this can be solved by auto-updating. Most people would say that, and I would agree. But I keep backup copies of all of these different versions that still have support for like 4 years, because they're less likely to have these problems. This is an example of a problem that was caused by a basic change in how things are done on the internet. I'm going to explain encryption here badly. This is not actually how encryption works, but this is how it's done, or not, depending on how you look at it. When you first connect to a website, whether it has the HTTPS or not, it could say HTTP, the website and your browser have to have a conversation about how they're going to communicate. This could be for literally, this isn't just security, this is literally anything they're doing. Because the internet has evolved a lot since people were using bulletin board systems and teletype. And, Telnet, and CompuServe, and AOL, and things you'd have to go look up in a history book these days. And I existed through that. So, those older protocols are still in use. They might be used for an oil derrick, or they might be used for a printer farm, or maybe a temperature sensor outside your house. They work, they're fine, they're not particularly critical, but your web browser can access it. That means it has to retain those older methods for communication. Just like on your computer, even if you don't even have partially the ability even to put on a floppy drive, not only does it need to know how to use a floppy drive, it needs to know how to use the extended version of this for an outdated hard drive that technically was formatted like a giant floppy that's like 32 megabytes. Yeah, that's a thing. Among 100 other damn standards. So you might understand, oh, okay, this is what happened. Somewhere between version 90 and version 100 something, Firefox starts with the presumption that we should use a more recent version for negotiating a secure connection. On Costco, on their computer, and on my computer, using Firefox to give the commands, now we have two computers we're talking about, they have to decide how they're going to communicate. Are we going to bother with encryption? Now, if we don't use any encryption, It's not just that someone can spy on you, which is the statement. Firefox uses certificates on secure websites to ensure that your information is being sent to the intended recipient and can't be read by eavesdroppers. But that's not really what's going on. It's made to make sure that this other computer can't fake being my computer, so that Costco doesn't get me being impersonated by somebody else. A very basic level of security has to be done. And then when we've done that really basic one, which really isn't encrypting anything, we can negotiate encryption by, let's say, my computer or Costco could say, hey, let's use the password OU812. Okay. And then while we're doing that, okay, now let's switch to a new password and trash the other one. Okay. And then we send it back and forth in some way that's really hard to decode by just using OU812 as a really hard encryption. It can be a seed for hard encryption. It doesn't have to be a long password. And after that, it'll then say, okay, now that we're communicating, let's grab a code at exactly the same millisecond from some other certificate authority and grab the code they give us. We don't know which one it is. We're not synthesizing it. We're grabbing a random number. Okay, 1, 2, 3, bang. Only that's 1, 2, 3 microseconds. So the first step in making sure this isn't a problem, diagnostic, make sure the timing system on your computer is literally perfect. Like as tightly controlled as a GPS, which all of them are these days. Your computer can run at billions of cycles per second. Over the internet, we do ticks that are thousands and even 10,000ths of a second. But communicating from your browser to some place to get a code from that the Costco and you both agree on at that moment without encryption means that after we grab that code, no one is able to retrieve that code and get the same thing because they're not going to synchronize exactly. Because for that short period of time, not only we're connecting to some other site to get it, at least this is one method, we could be going through the same tunnel, which means our timings are locked together. This makes it literally impossible for someone else to break into the connection. And even then, we then do it again, just to make it really hard to break in. Now, why would Costco go to all this work if you're just looking up the cost of hot dogs? It's not for your safety or anything like that. It's to keep someone from emulating you and keep Costco from being emulated so that we're not fooled into giving out credit card details. It doesn't have anything to do with your privacy. They violate your privacy as much as they want to, although Costco is very good at not doing that. This is how the sausage is made on the internet. This is how we grind through securing a connection. Now, the experts will immediately start typing below. That's not actually how it works. I know, but is this a good example of how one of the many methods work? Yes, it is. So shut up. Next thing is, as you might imagine, they'll say, well, that's you're using a browser stupid enough to use the older method that I was about to complain you're talking about. Yeah. So the newer version just starts with a different set of presumptions entirely, and Costco isn't going to play that. It's like, no. You try to visit the page on water hoses and sprinklers? No, you ain't going to do that unless we do a secure connection. But we had a secure connection. I know that. But we're going to do it the way we all know how to do. Because now it's not even telling me the protocol. It's a presumed set of protocols. Just like the others were presumed. We're now presumed to use a different set. Yes, it has fallback. If version 5 doesn't work, it'll go all the way down to version 1. Costco's like, nah, if you're not starting with version 5 or 4, I'm not talking to you. Have fun with your stupid error message. It doesn't even tell me what the hell happened. It just says, screw you, here's a generic secure connection not able to be done. And that's what this is. Now, why would it do that? Because sometimes you can trick an error message on a browser into breaking into your computer. Yeah, that's actually a thing. And I might have a browser just slightly old enough to do that. I checked, it isn't. So what it is, it's a set of priorities on how it does things and whether or not it requires a minimum level of security. That minimum number changed by not really much, but what it changed by is what it presumed we start with, after which below, lower quality, it won't even talk to me. So yeah, if you got this error message, again, just get a newer browser. It could be just one notch up. I'm not checking. Now I'm going to revisit another subject. Firefox really has less than a dozen copies of it, versions of it, that are really versions of it. All of them, the others, are just little patch versions. But when they put out a version that they're willing to support, that means that's when they stop dicking around and they're not patching anything anymore, even though it says that it's version 9.1.44 and the other one is 9.2 something. 9.2 is still shitty compared to 9.1. Because this one is still, we're doing experiments and bugs. What happens is every time they end up with a version that doesn't have anything wrong with it and has no major issue, and it's patched to the point that it is functional, as long as you don't dick with it, it's fine. So I download those versions, and those are ESR versions. 9.1, and then it's 103 or 102 or whatever is the next one. Everything in between is crap. It has stability issues, or it's not secure, or whatever the hell. So all I did was load up, because I won't throw any of them away, the newer version. But Waptec, why are you using the older version? Because the older version, again, like the protocols, is stupid enough that some websites don't try to activate new features that I don't need. I'm visiting Costco. Half the time I'm on any website, I'm turning off shit I don't need. I don't want it asking me, do you want to sign up for surveys and all the other crap we're all used to. And I have a browser that's old enough that if I tell it never to send me that again by having uBlock Origin block it, or I just block it manually, it gives up. It's like, yeah, this guy's running an old version. He's not the kind of guy who's going to buy the latest, newest thing. Stop throwing ads at him and just see if he wants to buy something on our website. It works. It's a tactic. That's it. I want to point out that not having the error message tell me exactly what the hell's going on wastes my time, but it also eliminates, again, the company website and my internet connection and my browser. It doesn't matter, because at that point it can't tell me securely what went wrong. Part of this is a protocol to tell me in a way that nobody can see what went wrong. Obviously, if we can't negotiate the first step in securing connections, might just well not tell me a damn thing. That's the logic behind it. Now, I don't know that that's actually what happened. Buyer beware. Your mileage will vary. I'm some idiot on YouTube. But if you got this message that says an error occurred during connection to a website, and then it also asks you, please contact the website owners to inform them of this problem. Those were the two key sentences that brought me to, yeah, just get a newer browser. Well, everybody says that. No, really. This is literally the example of you just needing to get the newer browser. There's something about the browser that's doing things in the wrong order. It's starting with a presumption on security of a minimum security level that the website isn't willing to go that low. So I just loaded up the next browser and it works fine. And I can look up water hoses. And then I forgot how I ended up there, because honestly, I wasn't looking up water hoses. That's the internet for you. So, what other things was suggested? VPNs, proxies, maybe your list of certificates on your computer is bad. Okay, well I can reset those or erase them. Maybe your browser's demanding secure socket layer first when it shouldn't, okay? Maybe it's allowing for it not to work. Okay, well, that's opposite day, but I tried that. Strict transport security preload list. Should it look for the procedure stack? But it got more and more complicated. The answer was just use the newer browser, because they abandoned some standards as being something that some websites would even bother with. And that's understandable. If you're visiting a website like Amazon, and they're not willing to allow you to use a protocol that was originally built for running fax machines in the 40s, that's acceptable. No, I'm not joking. It was really something that silly. But yeah, that gives you an idea why, again, we're supposed to have error messages that we can't read them, we don't know what it means, but at least it tells us maybe what to look up and we might get lucky. In this case, this error was so basic that there isn't an error message for it. It just means, no, you're just talking bullshit to the website. And this will become a problem more and more later. And yes, this means that I have to either upgrade, which I might refuse to do. I already have a copy I can upgrade to. Or I can alter the browser I have to change the order of preference to always start with a certain minimum security level. That means digging into the code, and that's a lot of work. Or I can just close the browser and open a different one and just start from there. The newer browser works. So if you were being driven crazy like this and got well into the weeds over here on hundreds of things, which I'll link below and even mention, your time was wasted because the website just didn't say, new browser needed. Amazing, all the other websites do that when you don't need it. This one should have said it when you did, and it didn't. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll need it.